April 10th, 2016. The San Antonio Spurs were on the verge of something no NBA team had ever achieved. An undefeated home season, 39 straight wins in their building, a Hall of Fame coach, a dynasty's legendary trio, and the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, all ready to etch their names into history. Fans came to see perfection, the night their team would become untouchable. But history had other plans, because standing in their way wasn't just another opponent, or even just another superstar. It was Stephen Curry, 28 years old in his physical prime, and already redefining the way basketball was played. That night, the Spurs were chasing immortality, but Curry was on a mission of his own, to prove that his rise to greatness was not a fluke, but the beginning of something the league had never seen before. In 2015, Curry and the Warriors shocked the world by winning their first championship in 4 decades. A dazzling display of pace, space, and the purest shooting the game had ever seen. But almost immediately, the narrative began to unravel. Critics dismissed the run. Cleveland wasn't healthy, they said. Andre Iguodala was Finals MVP, not Curry. Some even claimed Golden State's path had been too easy. For any other player, maybe the criticism would have stung. Maybe it would have raised doubts. But for Steph, it became fuel. That summer, he returned to the gym, not with the glow of a champion satisfied at the top, but with the hunger of someone who still had something to prove. And when the 2016 season tipped off, it was clear he had taken his game to a place no one else in NBA history had ever reached. On opening night, the message was loud and clear. The New Orleans Pelicans had Jrue Holiday, one of the premier perimeter defenders of his generation, and Anthony Davis, a towering defensive anchor at the peak of his athleticism. If anyone could challenge Curry, it was them. But from the moment the ball tipped, Curry looked like he was playing on another level entirely. Deep threes off the dribble, lightning-quick pull-ups in transition, crafty finishes around Davis at the rim, he attacked every inch of the floor. By the time the final buzzer sounded, Curry had torched them for 40 points. One game in, and the league already knew. This was not the same Steph Curry they'd seen the year before. This was something different, something scarier. Maybe they thought it was just one night, one hot shooting game. But the NBA doesn't let you hide. 4 days later, back in New Orleans, the Pelicans had another shot. Home crowd behind them. Fresh game plan. This time they were ready. And Curry, he was on the second night of a back-to-back. The perfect chance to finally slow him down. Instead, he detonated. 53 points, 11 threes, step-backs, crossovers, pull-ups from distances that defied logic. Jrue Holiday could only shake his head. Anthony Davis could only watch in disbelief. The crowd there to celebrate their team's revenge ended up witnessing history instead. In less than a week, Steph Curry had dismantled 2 elite defenders at the height of their powers. And the league began to realize, Prime Curry wasn't just unstoppable. He was rewriting the very rules of basketball. Most great scorers in NBA history have one thing in common. They lived at the free throw line. James Harden, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. Their ability to draw fouls padded their scoring numbers. But Steph Curry? He didn't need any of it. During his peak, Curry averaged over 30 points per game while taking fewer than 6 free throws a night. That is unheard of. Every bucket was earned in real time, off-the-dribble threes, floaters in the paint, circus finishes through traffic. There were no gimmicks, no leaning into defenders, no hunting for whistles, just pure skill, pure shooting, and pure dominance. He proved that scoring at the highest level didn't need to be about manipulating the rules. It could simply be about being better than everyone else. Ask any basketball fan, who's the greatest point guard of all time? Some will say Magic Johnson, the leader of the Showtime Lakers, the man who turned passing into art. Others will argue for Steph Curry, the assassin from beyond the arc, who changed basketball forever. But if we put their very best seasons side by side, Magic's 1987 campaign against Curry's 2016 masterpiece, the numbers tell a shocking story. Curry wasn't just great, he was statistically dominant, higher efficiency, greater scoring impact, a level of offensive gravity that warped defenses like nothing before. It's not about disrespecting Magic's legacy. It's about recognizing that for one season, Curry may have reached a peak even higher than the most celebrated point guard in NBA history. What really set 2016 Curry apart wasn't just his numbers, it was the ripple effect. Overnight, the NBA was forced to adapt. Big men who couldn't defend on the perimeter suddenly became unplayable. Point guards who couldn't shoot were no longer valuable. Coaches rewrote their playbooks, and general managers reshaped their teams, all because of one player. Curry stretched defenses to their breaking point. His shooting range created space where none existed before. Suddenly, no lead is safe became more than a cliche. It became a reality, because if Steph caught fire, a 20-point deficit could vanish in minutes. And once he showed it could be done, the rest of the league had no choice but to follow. Records are meant to be broken, but what Steph Curry did in 2016 wasn't breaking a record. It was obliterating one. The previous mark for most threes in a season was 286. Curry didn't just pass it, he blew it apart with 402, a number so far beyond the old standard that it looked like a typo. And it wasn't just the volume, it was the efficiency. 11 attempts per game, 45% shooting. These weren't just wide-open shots either. They were contested, step backs, off balance, and from distances that most players wouldn't even consider. In one season, Curry redefined what was possible. He didn't just set a new standard, he created an entirely new world of basketball that players are still chasing today. With Curry leading the charge, the Warriors finished 73-9, the best regular season record in NBA history. They weren't just winning, they were dismantling teams with an ease and flair that felt unreal. Every night was a show, and every arena was packed with fans waiting to see what Curry would do next. But as dominant as they were, one question lingered. Could this run end with a championship? Because for all the highlights, all the records, and all the magic, history only remembers the teams that finished the job. Ask any player who faced Curry in 2016, and they'll tell you the same thing. There was a different kind of fear. Jrue Holiday once admitted he fouled Steph on a half-court heave because he didn't want to risk it going in. Think about that. Fouling a guy before he even reached the three-point line, because the possibility of it dropping was real. This was the psychological edge Curry had over the league. Opponents didn't just defend him, they dreaded him. Game plans collapsed the moment he crossed midcourt. Coaches tore up their defensive schemes in frustration, and world-class athletes found themselves helpless against a player who seemed to bend the laws of probability. Steph Curry didn't just beat you with talent, he made you question your own ability to stop him at all. The revolution Curry sparked in 2016 spread like wildfire. Suddenly, every young guard wanted to be Steph. Kids in gyms weren't practicing bank shots or mid-range jumpers. They were pulling from 30 feet, yelling his name as the ball left their hands. And it wasn't just kids. NBA front offices took notice too. Big men who couldn't guard the perimeter became liabilities overnight. Point guards who couldn't shoot were pushed out of lineups. Teams began stockpiling shooters, prioritizing spacing, and rethinking every possession around the threat of the three. Steph's season didn't just change the way teams defended, it changed the way teams were built. He didn't just dominate the league, he reshaped it from the inside out. Sports has rare moments when it feels like reality itself cracks open. When someone does something so outrageous that it redefines what we believe is possible. For basketball, that moment was Steph Curry in 2016. He pulled up from 35 feet without hesitation. And instead of groans from the crowd, there was silence, because everyone knew it might actually go in. Shots that would have gotten any other player benched instantly became part of his normal routine. Analysts ran out of adjectives. Opponents laughed in disbelief. Fans in the arena held their breath every time the ball left his hands, because logic no longer applied. Steph Curry made the impossible feel routine, and in doing so, he broke the boundaries of the game itself. In the end, 2016 Steph Curry wasn't just a superstar. He was a phenomenon. He didn't simply play basketball, he rewrote it. Defenders feared him, coaches scrambled to adjust to him, and the entire league reshaped itself in response to what he did that year. And while the story of that season may forever carry the heartbreak of how it ended, the truth is clear. No player has ever bent the game so dramatically, so quickly, and so completely. That was prime Steph Curry, the season when the impossible became reality. If you enjoyed this breakdown, let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you believe 2016 Curry was the greatest peak we've ever seen? And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another deep dive. Until next time.